This is something that even in my first like real band that released albums called Dragonland, we did this already quite a bit. On our third album in 2004, we took a step from being like a standard power metal band to already incorporating a lot of influences, and it was something that I really wanted to do. It was something that came very naturally to me, and as you mentioned, the metal scene can be on the conservative side somewhat. So I thought, I mean, when we were putting this band together, Amaranth, then I thought it was fun to kind of provoke those notions a little bit and kind of push and pull and, see where the limit goes. And when we released the first single, which was Hunger, 13 almost years ago, then, there was a lot of people who were very upset. They thought that, okay, a band like Amaranth now exists and it has essentially single-handedly destroyed heavy metal overnight by releasing this song. And it got even worse when we released Amaranthe, like ballad song, a couple of months later. But I think it was the kind of some of the reactions that I was predicting. And it was even to some extent some of the reactions that I was hoping for. Like, let's push people a little bit. Let's challenge their notions of where the borders of heavy metal are. Because heavy metal has always been pop inspired. It's almost always had acoustic guitars and influences from all kinds of stuff like 70s disco in the 70s. So but it's more as of late, I would say, in the last 15 years that it's grown a little bit more, instead of conservative, I would say protective. And I totally understand that, because a lot of people make heavy metal their identity, just like I have done that myself as well, especially as a musician. So I understand that people want to defend what they feel is rightfully theirs. So I do understand the notion, but I think it's good for everyone to be challenged once in a while.
But that's a very interesting conversation that goes into the nature of art, I think, because obviously art can be consumed for many reasons, and there's no one way is not better than the other, but it can be entertainment, it can be escapism, it can be well, a catalyst for change in some cases, for instance, in the 60s. But what do you see as the nature of your art? And what is your intention with what you do? As you mentioned, you like to poke people a little bit, make them think. What is it
Yeah.
that you want to, what do you want to accomplish with your art?
I mean, besides that, it's I always found it a magnificent thing, like the way that people come together around bands. It's one thing for the shows, but the fans also gather around a certain album, a certain band in general, a certain song, whatever. And there is a lot of how should I say, rather dark and depressive lyrics and thematic matter in the heavy metal scene. And of course it lends itself to the music because the music is inherently dark. And I think maybe our main mission with Amaranth is that we want the music to be uplifting. We deal with some negative topics, we deal with some dark and depressive things, but we always try to see a positive flip side to it in order to like lift people up and empower people, because obviously it can be very uplifting to listen to really depressive lyrics because you feel like you're not alone with it. But if you're only subjected to that, it can get a little bleak at times. So I think it's Amaranth at a heavy metal festival, for example, is always this little sparkly moment where it turns from whatever dark and depressive Finnish band you had right before, and then we explode on stage with silver jackets and Elise is dancing, and everybody's having a good time. And, it seems like the heavy metal world has embraced it. Like when we played Wacken last year, there was 50,000 people they did not leave, even if they're kind of on the old school side. They appreciate it now because they understand where we're coming from. They understand the purpose, which is at the end of the day to lift people up and to entertain.